No one remembered the day she was born. The village elders said she came into the world during a quiet dawn, when the sky was pale and the birds had not yet begun to sing. Her mother named her Amora, which meant hope. But hope did not stay long. When Amora was 7 years old, soldiers came. They arrived with iron swords and hard voices, riding horses that crushed crops beneath their hooves. The village tried to hide the children, but fear moves faster than feet. Amora remembered her mother pushing her into the bush, whispering, "Do not cry. No matter what, do not cry." But she cried anyway. A hand grabbed her arm. Another tore her away. She screamed for her mother until her voice broke. That was the last time she saw her home. The kingdom of Valeris was powerful and cruel. Its walls were tall. Its rulers were proud. And its wealth was built on the backs of slaves. Amora was sold in the market like an animal. Her hair was shaved. Her name was taken. She became slave for 17. From morning until night, she walked, scrubbing floors, carrying water, cleaning the homes of people who never looked her in the eye. When she made mistakes, she was beaten. When she cried, she was punished more. But the worst pain was silence. No one asked how she felt. No one cared what she dreamed. The world taught her one lesson again and again. As she grew older, Amora learned how to survive by becoming invisible. She spoke only when spoken to. She kept her eyes down. She hid her thoughts deep inside her chest, where no one could touch them. But there was one thing she could not hide. On her left shoulder was a strange birthmark. It looked like a flame twisted into symbols, marks that did not belong to any language spoken in Valeris. Other slaves noticed it first. They whispered about it at night. "She is cursed. She is chosen. She will bring trouble." One overseer once saw it and struck her hard. "Cover it," he snapped. "We don't need bad omens." From that day on, Amora wrapped cloth around her shoulder, even in the heat. Years passed. Amora became a woman. And then the kingdom began to fall apart. First, the crops failed. Fields that once grew golden wheat turned dry and cracked. Rivers darkened. Fish floated dead on the surface. Then sickness spread. Children coughed blood. Strong men collapsed in the streets. No medicine worked. No prayer answered. The royal family tried everything. They offered sacrifices. They burned incense. They called the priests and the scholars. Nothing stopped the curse. Then the king's eldest son died. And panic filled the palace. The forgotten prophecy. Deep beneath the palace, in a library sealed for centuries, an old priest found something written on cracked stone tablets. A prophecy. It spoke of a kingdom built on suffering. A curse born from injustice. And a girl marked by ancient fire. She will be born in chains. She will know pain before power. And when the land cries out, she alone will decide its fate. The mark was described in detail. A flame. Twisted. Alive. The priest trembled. He knew where to find her. The slave they needed. That night, guards came for Amora. She thought she was going to be killed. Instead, they washed her, dressed her in clean clothes, and brought her before the king. She had never stood in the throne room before. Gold covered everything. Chandeliers glowed like trapped stars. The same people who had walked past her for years now stared at her as if she were something dangerous. The king's voice shook. Show us your shoulder. Amara hesitated. A guard raised his weapon. Slowly, she removed the cloth. Gasps filled the room. The birthmark glowed faintly, as if alive. The priest dropped to his knees. It is her, he whispered. The child of the first flame. Amara felt something unfamiliar rise in her chest. Power. They told her everything. About the curse. About the prophecy. About how only she could break it. Her blood, they said, was tied to the land itself. Her forgiveness was the key. If she performed the ancient ritual, the curse would lift. Amara listened in silence. Then she laughed. Not softly. Not kindly. She laughed like someone who had carried pain for too long. You beat me, she said calmly. You starved me. You took my childhood. You called me nothing. The room was quiet. And now, she continued, you want me to save you. The king stepped down from his throne and knelt. For the first time in her life, Amara had power over the people who destroyed her. She spent the night alone, locked not in a cell, but in a beautiful room with silk sheets and food she could barely touch. Sleep would not come. She remembered her mother's face. Her village. The screams. The chains. She also saw the children of Valeris, innocent, sick, dying for sins they did not commit. By morning, her heart was heavy. The ritual. At dawn, the city gathered. Slaves. Nobles. Soldiers. Children. Amara stood at the center of the ancient stone circle. The mark on her shoulder burned like fire. The priest spoke. To break the curse, she must forgive. Everyone held their breath. Amara looked at the crowd. At the slaves watching with fear and hope. At the rulers watching with desperation. She raised her voice. You built this kingdom on pain, she said. You taught me suffering. You made me strong. The wind picked up. But hear me clearly, she continued. Forgiveness is not forgetting. Mercy is not weakness. She closed her eyes. I forgive you. The ground shook. Light burst from her mark, spreading across the land like fire and rain. Rivers cleared. Crops revived. The sick began to breathe easier. The curse was broken. When the light faded, Amara collapsed. But she lived. The people cried. The slaves fell to their knees. The king stepped forward. What will you ask of us? He said. Gold. Land. Power. Amara stood slowly. I want freedom, she said. For all of them. That day, slavery ended in Valeris. Amara did not take the throne. She became something greater. She traveled across lands, teaching justice, building peace between nations once divided by chains. Mothers named their daughters after her. Kings listened when she spoke. They called her the Mother of Nations. Not because she ruled with force, but because she chose compassion when the world gave her every reason to choose destruction. And her story was told for generations, not as a legend of power, but as proof that even the most broken child can change the fate of the world.